guidance. One of the lovely things about teaching in the great outdoors is the exposure this unique parenting approach gets. Setting up in a public park brings the educaring approach to people who'd otherwise never know it existed. Of course, many people don't know what they're seeing. When they see my equipment set up, I hear, "Is this a birthday party? Are you training dogs?" Or, my personal favorite, "Is this a baby CrossFit class?" Now, Magda did say that if you thought babies needed exercise classes, you should just get on the floor and do what they do for an hour or so. But no. Now, not to brag, but I do understand the allure of the simple setup. The wooden structures and boxes, the carefully curated toys set out in an organized and attractive manner. Yeah, that's deliberate. As humans, we're drawn to organization and simplicity as well as novelty. So a fresh play space with clean lines and toys arranged just so is very inviting. And I always consider it a compliment when children of all ages are drawn in to explore. And then you add children to the mix, and people really can't help but watch. But I think what really draws onlookers closer is the relaxed energy of the parents. When adults are able to sit back and peacefully observe children's play, it gives children the freedom to go deeper in their own explorations. It's a different tableau than what you typically see on a playground, as Trevor Noah describes here.
I really don't know why Americans are. I think I know why, but I'm not sure why Americans are so stressed about their children. Like it's like I was in Brooklyn over the weekend. I know I go places. It was really interesting. I was at a park with a friend, and so she was taking her kids to the park, and so we're like, all right, let's go to the park. And when we got there, my friend is from South Africa, right? So we get there, and immediately the first thing she sees, she's like, hi Trevor. She's like, why are all the parents in the park? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, why? The kids are, because like all the parents are right there. And I was like, oh yeah, this is an American thing. They don't, because like every parent is like there, like the kid like swinging and the kid is there and the kid comes down the slide and the parents are there and the kids talking to each other. The parents are, it's really interesting to see when you're from another country because here like everyone's just like, my kid, but it's weird. It almost becomes like a prison yard. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, because all the parents are there on the side like, hey, back it up. I'm like, what happened to just like the kids? You know when you step, just be on the outside. Basically, I think parents should treat playgrounds the way people should treat the luggage carousel at airports. Take a step back. Only when you see something happening with your shit, then you step in. Until then, relax.
A RIE space is unique, refreshing, and inviting. And I came across a good explanation of why, oddly enough, in a book about organizational culture. The quote says, "We experience our deepest happiness when we connect to ancient human pleasures. Communal meals, campfires, watching a thunderstorm, snuggling with children, and storytelling are some of our primal pleasures. Dipping our toes in a lake, walking through a forest, or observing a meteor shower can help us keep our lives in perspective. We are a small part of something vast and universal." I think that's what people feel, not only in class, but when they slow down to witness class. Slowing down to watch children is a simple human pleasure. It reminds us that we are, indeed, part of something vast and universal. Is that giving away the secret sauce to my classes? Oh well. I like knowing a little bit more about why I get the warm fuzzies when I teach, and it's still magic, even if it has a name. To be fair, not everyone is compelled to stop when they see my gorgeous setup, and some can even resist the allure of watching children peacefully play, but almost no one can resist pausing when they see me start snack. Seeing a flock of toddlers assembling the table, choosing washcloths and bibs, waiting patiently for their piece of banana, and taking turns pouring their own water into glass cups, well, that's hard even for the most jaded to pass by. Of course, when I'm serving snack, I'm hardly aware of what's going on anywhere off my checkerboard snack mat. This ritual is about giving children agency and allowing them to demonstrate their competence, but it's also a meal, which means that it is caregiving for me and children. And when caregiving moments are present, connected, and intimate, yes, even when there are 6 to 8 children, it fosters connection and attachment. So I don't want to split my attention to notice what onlookers are experiencing. Well, that and I really can't. Snack time eventually becomes a smooth ballet, but it takes months of barely controlled chaos to get there, and I can't let my attention wander for a moment. But there was a moment a few weeks ago when I noticed a presence hovering just slightly behind and to the left of me. So I chanced a glance. Sure enough, a woman was there, hesitantly leaning in and watching. She gave off serious Jane Goodall vibes. Someone who desperately didn't want to interfere with what she was witnessing, but who at the same time couldn't help but ask. She leaned toward me slightly and in a stage whisper asked, "What is this?" Now, I didn't have much attention to spare, so I just briefly said, "This is a parent education class." I can't tell you exactly what she said, but I saw her relax with approval and saying something about how she'd taught parent education for years and was glad to see that it's still out in the world. She kept watching for a few minutes, but then went back to her walking path and continued with her day. I didn't really give it much thought until one of the parents from the group spoke up about it later. She said she'd never really considered it to be parent education. For her, it was simply RIE. And it makes sense to me. You hear parent education and maybe you go to the image of a remedial education, something to correct, quote, bad parenting. It's not a term that's usually associated with a proactive approach to parenting. These classes are for the children, most assuredly, to learn from one another and to practice socializing and to connect with each other. But they are absolutely for parents too. Yes, for connection and support, for sharing ideas and tips and tricks, but also to learn how to slow themselves down, to learn how to see children differently, and to get some education on child development along the way. That's why Magda called them parent-infant guidance classes, for parent and child. And that's how I see myself, as a guide for parents, not a teacher or an educator. You won't get graded or evaluated in my classes, but I hope you feel supported and guided. Here's hoping you find a moment soon to tap into an ancient human pleasure and find solace in knowing we are all part of something vast and universal.